Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I offer my humble obeisance unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayet. Before reciting Srimad Bhagvatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisance unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author of Srimad Bhagavatam. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in the classes on Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the Personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Hare Krishna, dear Vaishnavas, thank you so much for joining. Hiranyakashipu, the king of demons. So we read till text number 34 yesterday, and we were discussing that how Hiranyakashipu is pacifying or consoling the relatives of his dead brother, namely the mother Diti, the wife of Hiranyaksha, and also the children of Hiranyaksha. So we are at a very, very interesting point in this section, where this is a 4-level deep story. What that means is Shukdev Goswami asked this question to Parikshit Maharaj asked this to Shukdev Goswami. They gave the example of Narad Muni and Yudhishthir Maharaj's conversation. Narad Muni then tells about Hiranyakashipu and his relatives. Now Hiranyakashipu is telling the story of Suyajna, who was the king of Ushinara, who died. So the art of storytelling is very, very important. Every teacher, should have this art. Every parent should have this art. Why? Because a story, is very, very good way of teaching any particular point. That's how we were discussing a few days back from Ramayana. So many wonderful stories from Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata, or scriptures. A story helps. And Narad Muni showed by his example, telling allegorical stories to Haryashvas, to Prachini Bharishat, telling his own life story to Vyasadeva. Here Hiranyakashipu is telling the story of Suyajna to his relatives to pacify them. So parents, teachers, everyone, who's trying to share Krishna consciousness must have a lot of stories in their armor. And whatever, at the right point, whatever story fits, they should be ready to teach the children or whoever we are discussing at the right time, the right story, which really helps. So that's what Hiranyakashipu is doing. He's telling the story of Suyajna, who was dead and was the king of Ushinara. So let's see what happens next. Text 35. Evam vilapatinam vai parigrihya vritam patim anichatinam niraharam arko astam sanyavat vartata. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The time was appropriate for the body to be burned, but the queens, not allowing it to be taken away, continued lamenting for the dead body, which they kept on their laps. In the meantime, the sun completed its movements for setting in the west. Purport. According to the Vedic system, if a person dies during the daytime, it is customary for his funeral ceremony to be performed before the sun sets. regardless of whether he is burned or buried. And if he dies at night, the funeral must be completed before the next sunrise. Apparently, the queens continued lamenting for the dead body, the lump of matter, and would not allow it to be taken away for burning. This illustrates the strong grip of illusion among foolish persons who consider the body the self. Women are generally considered less intelligent. Because of ignorance only, the queens thought of the dead body as their husband, and somehow or other thought that if the body were kept there, their husband would remain with them. Such a conception of the self is certainly for Gokhara, cows and asses. We have actually seen that sometimes when a cow's calf has died, the milkman cheats the cow by presenting before her the dead body of her calf. Thus the cow, who would not otherwise allow milking, licks the dead body of the calf and allows herself to be milked. This substantiates the description of the Shastra, that a foolish man in the bodily conception of life is like a cow. Not only do foolish men and women consider the body the self, but we have even seen that the dead body of a so-called yogi was kept for days by his disciples, who thought that their guru was in samadhi. When decomposition began and a bad smell unfortunately began to overwhelm the yogic power, the disciples allowed the dead body of the so-called yogi to be burned. Thus, the bodily concept of life is extremely strong among foolish persons, who are compared to cows and asses. Nowadays, great scientists are trying to freeze dead bodies so that in the future these frozen bodies may again be brought to life. The incident narrated by Hiranyakashipu from history must have taken place millions of years ago, because Hiranyakashipu lived millions of years ago and was even then quoting from history. Thus, the incident occurred before Hiranyakashipu's lifetime. But the same ignorance in the bodily concept of life is still prevalent, not only among laymen, but even among scientists who think they will be able to revive frozen corpses. Apparently, the queens did not want to deliver the dead body because they were afraid of dying with the dead body of their husband. Hare Krishna. So this verse shows that King Suyajna was dead, as we discussed, and the wives were wailing. They were beating their chests and were really very, very morose upon seeing the death of their beloved husband and the king, Suyajna. So they did not even want to let the body go for the final rites, thinking that the body will come back. And Prabhupada is mentioning that is like a animal mentality, ass mentality, not very intelligent. Because we have discussed this point many, many times. The soul has passed away. What passes away when the body is still there, but it is lifeless? So the soul is the eternal thing and has passed away. In all languages, the same thing is said. Oh, he has passed away. He left the body. He departed from this world. What has departed? The body is still there. Still 2 eyes. Still two hands, 2 legs. Everything before death and after death is same. The body does not change, but one thing changes: that the soul has passed away. The life has passed away. Now what is left is just a lump of matter which will decay after some time. But because of the consciousness, because of the animalistic consciousness or less intelligent consciousness we think I am the body, and this body is my husband or my wife or my children, etc., but not very intelligent idea. And in the past also, so the story is happening much before Hiranyakashipu's time, which was in Satyuga. So this conception is prevalent throughout the yugas. And also Prabhupada makes that, and then we have seen this, modern scientists are trying to do so many experiments and freeze the body and this and that. One great person, I think great means great wealthy person, said he gave like billions of dollars to do research on, so that his body could come to, back to life. So he gave billions of dollars. And the scientists, so-called scientists and all, they were just exploiting money and say, oh, the research is in progress. They were spending decades and decades. So now his relatives thought that, if somehow all his money is being deteriorated in this research and these so-called scientists are enjoying money, we have to do something. Because the money had to come to relatives, but if it all goes in research, then scientists would enjoy. We won't. So somehow they said, they did some court case, and then the matter reached the courts that we want to stop this research. So that what if he comes to life? So there will be two outcomes. Either then he'll come to life, then he will enjoy his money. If he doesn't come to life and the next 100 years they're busy doing research, then all the money will be gone. So better stop this research, and so that we can enjoy the money. So somehow they come to a negotiation. Half of the money was taken by the scientists and half of the money was, something like that. So basically the whole focus is, once gone, the body is temporary, the soul is eternal and continues to move in this samsara. But the false attachment is very strong. They did not want to let the body go for the final rites. The wise here. Any other comments or questions? Okay. Yes, Prabir Prabhu, you want to read?
Yes, Hare Krishna Prabhu, Hare Krishna devotees, Dandot Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Text 36. Tatraha preta bandhunam asyutta poridevitam ahatan balaka bhutva jama sayam upagata. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation. While the queens were lamenting for the dead body of the king, their loud cries were heard even from the abode of Yamaraja. Assuming the body of a boy, Yamaraja personally approached the relatives of the dead body and advised them as follows. Purpose. Sometimes the living entity is forced to give up his body and enter another one according to the judgment of Yamaraja. It is difficult, however, for the conditioned soul to enter another body unless the present dead body is annihilated through cremation or some other means. The living being has attachment for the present body and does not want to enter another, and thus in the interim he remains a ghost. If a living being who has already left his body has been pious, Yamaraja, just to give him relief, will give him another body. Since the living being in the body of the king had some attachment to his body, he was hovering as a ghost, and therefore Yamaraja, as a special consideration, approached the lamenting relatives to instruct them personally. Yamaraja approached them as a child because a child is not restricted but is granted admittance anywhere. even to the palace of the king. Besides this, the child was speaking philosophy. People are very much interested in hearing philosophy when it is spoken by a child. Hare Krishna. So here Srila Prabhupada is explaining some of the unknown realistic things which we never want to hear or understand. And personally, for myself, I can say, don't want to even ask question about that. That what happened to the soul once he leaves the body. Here Srila Prabhupada is saying that sometimes living entity is forced. Sometimes the soul is forced to give up the body and enter another book according to the judgment of Yamaraja. Here we can see like kindness of Yamaraja as a representative of Lord Krishna. When Yamaraja see that, because the body is, when we get, every day we are, as soon as a child, if someone born, we are getting older. It's like the cloth is getting older. So here we can see the kindness that if that body is not doing anything beneficial to the soul, means doing for the liberation of the soul, then Yamaraja can take that soul out of the body and give another body. And then Prabhupada is explaining what happens if someone has too much attachment to that body or attachment to the family members. That soul hover around that. So here, and we can see that why, like we say that chant Mahamantra, even when the soul leaves the body. Because the soul is hovering around that body, even chanting Mahamantra at that time or chanting Bhagavad Gita, all these things are beneficial for that departing soul. So Prabhupada is explaining nicely. At least for me, those things are really, because we also don't want to, we see death every day, but we don't think like that I'm going to die. Why can I chant? At least I can say for myself. I'm seeing so many people are dying, but I don't. Prabhupada is giving the really nice detailed explanation that how that body becomes a ghost, and then Yamaraja's special consideration. Here Yamaraja was very kind that he came as a boy and he's going to speak the philosophy and to the queens. And Prabhupada is saying that we would like to hear the philosophy, especially if it is spoken by children. And we see that over and over, like Lord Krishna's in Govardhan Lila, everybody was listening and everybody was convinced about his philosophy. Hare Krishna, Prabhu, back to you, he said. Okay.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. This is a really interesting point that people are interested in hearing philosophy, especially when spoken by a child, and it is seen, when a child speaks some shlokas, and then people are amazed. Wow, he's like a 10-year-old or a 5-year-old speaking such nice words. And even in book distribution, I have seen that when adults give a book, sometimes, they may say no, but when a child gives them, oh, uncle, please take this book, they'll say, okay, my dear child is such a cute baby, he's asking me to take a book, let me take it. So it is a good strategy to preach Krishna consciousness, because Yamaraja adopted this strategy. Of course, we cannot change ourselves to the body of a child, but we can, certainly train our children, for those who have children, and then help them to share the message of Krishna consciousness as per the situation. And people do take it nicely. Most people do take it nicely. Therefore, Yamaraja chose this strategy. Because children, are very cute to everyone. No one says, why you are speaking this to me? Because everyone loves to hear from children. Any other comments anyone has?
Hare Krishna, this is Bhadra. Dandavat everybody. Here usually Yamaraj don't come. Usually he sends Yamadutas. But in this case they are mentioning, the Acharyas are mentioning that because Yama usually come personally for the pious persons and take them his city after their bodies are burnt. But here in this case, among the queens, few were devotees, and so Yamaraj's servant could not approach. The Yam himself came to take the body from them. So that's the explanation here, why, because usually Yamadutas came. My question here is that in last two verses we are reading that the body is usually, it is mentioned, Srila Prabhupada mentioned in the previous verse, and we have seen this in India, that person dies during the daytime, then it is before the body, before the sunset, cremation is done. And when the person leaves the body at night, then before the sunrise, the cremation is done. But in this country, it is other way around. And in this verse, Srila Prabhupada also mentioning that until the body is annihilated through cremation, the soul is hovering. I'm sure that this doesn't apply for the Krishna conscious persons or who are pious, I'm sure. But I'm just curious to know, how is it? Because here usually, it takes 2 or 3 days. They keep it in the frozen, and then they, after 2 or 3 days they come, and this whole thing is going. So someone can enlighten me how this, because this is completely not a Vedic. Let's put it that way. The way Vedic culture is you follow. Someone can tell about that, please.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
I thought I can share a few things. I was very actively involved in one devotee. His name was Srikant Prabhu. I don't know anyone of you know. He was actually Prabhupada's Sannyas Guru, Keshav Maharaj. He was the disciple of Keshav Maharaj, and actually Sridhar Maharaj, Prabhupada's disciple, brought him to New York temple. He was a very excellent Kirtaniya and also very good cook. So in 2010, Prabhuji passed away suddenly in New York, and I was there. So we arranged everything. One of the reasons was in this country from there are some of the issues there. Issues means when a person dies, there are some insurances are involved there. The beneficiaries are there. So when those things are involved, they want to make sure that the death is a natural death. There was no any other tricks or any other play involved there. So in Srikant Prabhu's case, we were, we tried our best to get his body quickly as soon as possible. But he has some insurance and everything, and his wife, who were not here, they were in Bombay, so they were the beneficiaries. But the devotees, they chanted in the temple continuously for him, and then they did a memorial service, and then as soon as the memorial service was done, his body was sent to Jagannath Puri, because he was from Jagannath Puri. So that I can explain that why it didn't happen, like the way Bhadra is asking.
Thank you.
There's one devotee, His Grace Prashant Mukund Prabhu, he has given very nice lectures on what happens after death. He has given lectures from Garud Purana, and there the journey of the soul to Yamaloka is explained. Again, I don't remember exact details, but it's in Hindi, very very detailed lectures, very learned devotee. So he mentions in what day 1 what happens, day 2 what happens, and all these details are from Garud Purana. So I can share after the class those lectures, and this is certainly for as non-pious people or non-devotees who have not done good activities. So the attachment is there to the body, and therefore the body is burned. See, this thing is the one you were most attached to, and now your own people have burnt that. Now, at least give up that attachment. So then the soul, through the spiritual senses, is kind of seeing that, and therefore the attachment to the body goes. That's the science behind. But every day, the Yatna Sharir means the Yamaraj's place where the decisions happen is millions of miles far. So the soul takes that Yatna Sharir to do that journey, and within that there are multiple places like Pitraloka, and there are different junctions. Like a train goes from point A to B, Delhi to Mumbai, but in between there is Kota Junction and Surat Junction and multiple places. So in that, and then the children do the Pitridan and Pindadan and all that if they are pious. So that means they will get some spiritual food or food that the Atma Shrid will get. Otherwise, that body will be starving. There are multiple places it's mentioned how the body has to go through. There is a desert, and then there are places where the dogs are biting and the dangerous wild dogs are trying to kill. So very, very torturous journey in short. But those who have pious children, etc., they will get, in the desert, their journey would be covered with shady trees, something like that. Again, I'll share, if you're interested, you can hear those lectures. He goes in very much detail of this journey from Garud Purana. Not sure. Does that make sense, Prabhuji? I'm not sure if I drifted from your question, but that's all I know.
Thank you.
So let's read the next verse. And then Mataji, you wanted to read?
Yes, Prabhuji. One second. Hare Krishna. Text 37. Shri Yama Uvacha. Aho amisham vayasadhikanam vipashyatam loka vidhim vimoha yatra gatas tatra gatam manusham swayam sadharma api shochantya partham. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sri Yamaraj said, "Alas, how amazing it is! These persons who are older than me have full experiences that hundreds and thousands of living entities have taken birth and death and died. Thus, they should understand that they also are apt to die. Yet, still they are bewildered. The conditioned soul comes from an unknown place and returns after death to that same unknown place. There is no exception to this rule, which is conducted by material nature. Knowing this, why do they uselessly lament? Purport. The Lord said in Bhagavad Gita 2.28, Anyatadini bhutani vyakta madhyani madhyaru bharata avyakta nidha mani eva tatra ka pari devana. All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning and manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when they are annihilated. So what need is there for lamentation? 1 second. Sorry, I didn't have enough light to read. Hare Krishna. Accepting that there are two classes of philosophers, one believing in the existence of the soul and the other not believing in its existence, there is no cause for lamentation in either case. Non-believers in the existence of the soul are called atheists by followers of Vedic wisdom. Yet, even if for argument's sake we accept the atheistic theory, there is still no cause for lamentation. Apart from the separate existence of the soul, the material elements remain unmanifested before creation. From this subtle state of unmanifestation comes manifestation. Just as from ether, air is generated. From air, fire is generated. From fire, water is generated. And from water, earth becomes manifested. From the earth, many varieties of manifestations take place. For example, a big skyscraper is manifested from the earth. When it is dismantled, the manifestation becomes again unmanifested and remains as atoms in the ultimate stage. The law of conservation of energy remains, but in the course of time, things are manifested and unmanifested. That is the difference. Then what cause is there for lamentation? In either manifestation or unmanifestation, somehow or other, even in the unmanifested stage, things are not lost. Both at the beginning and at the end, all elements remain unmanifested, and this does not make any material difference. Prabhu, may I stop here, please?
Yeah, sure, Mataji.
So we are reminded of Avyaktadini Bhutani, a verse from Bhagavad Gita 2.28, about how this manifestation is it takes place, how it goes through the process. First, everybody is unmanifested, and then Krishna's glance comes. We know that from Srimad Bhagvatam. And then everything manifests in the interim stage, and again at the end of annihilation, everything is unmanifested. So if one can understand it's so simple, then what is the cause of lamentation? And Yamaraja is in a form of a child, is beautifully explaining here. So can you imagine a child mesmerizingly talking to adults like, how is it possible? How come you are lamenting? You have seen birth and death thousands of times, and how, that it is, what is the cause of bewilderness? And this is a rule, so there's no exception. This Krishna's creation is so perfect that there is absolutely no exception to that rule of everybody who takes birth dies. Once Prabhupada was asked, Prabhupada, what is the death rate is declining, Prabhupada. Scientists are making so much advancement, this and that, and Prabhupada said, well, death rate is still 100%. Everybody who takes birth dies. And then we read about that's the law, and how one who doesn't believe is atheistic, but it's really fool. He's really a fool if he doesn't believe in the Vedic wisdom that this is such a simple cycle, the birth and death cycle. And then next we read about a manifestation of air comes from ether, From there, air comes fire, from fire comes water, and from water comes earth. And then so on, even a building is manifested from the earth. So it just continues, the cycle continues of manifestation, like one candle lights another candle, lights another candle, and so on. But we all know that these candles are going to stop giving light, so, and there is no cause, we won't cry if the candle stops lighting. There is really no cause for lamentation. Atma is eternal. That's what I understand, Guru. Back to you, Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Yes, Sudhir Prabhu, you want to read the rest of the purport? Vipul Prabhu?
Hare Krishna.
Yes, sir.
You're still on 38, right, Prabhu? 37?
We are halfway through the purport of 37.
Yeah.
Yes, so if we accept that.
If we accept, yeah. If we accept the Vedic conclusion as stated in Bhagavad Gita, Antavante ima deha, that these material bodies are perishable in due course of time, nitya shokta saririna, but that the soul is eternal, then we must remember always that the body is like a dress. Therefore, why lament the changing of a dress? The material body has no factual existence in relation to the eternal soul. It is something like a dream. In a dream, we may think of flying in the sky or sitting on a chariot as a king. But when we wake up, we can see that we are neither in the sky nor seated in a chariot. The Vedic wisdom encourages self-realization on the basis of non-existence of material body. Therefore, in either case, whether one believes in the existence of the soul or one does not believe in the existence of the soul, there is no cause for lamentation for loss of the body. In the Mahabharata, it is said, Adarshanath ihayatas punas chidrasanam gata. This statement could support the theory of atheistic scientists that the child in the womb of the mother has no life but is simply a lump of matter. To follow this theory, the lump of that matter is absorbed by a surgical operation. No life is killed. The body of the child is like a tumor, and if a tumor is operated upon and thrown away, no sin is involved. The same argument could be put forward in regard to the king and the queen, his queens. The body of the king was manifested from an unmanifested source, and again it became unmanifested from manifestation. Since the manifestation exists only in the middle, between the 2 points of unmanifestation, why should one cry for the body manifested in the interim? Hare Krishna Prabhu, beautiful explanation by Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada is telling here clearly that, it is stated in Bhagavad Gita that all these materialistic bodies are anyway going to perish, but only the soul is eternal. So, if we can just understand this point, we will understand the purpose of this, life. So, we, in many cases we see that, Bhagavad Gita is, read only at the time of death. But it would have been, a senseful if one tries to read Bhagavad Gita, before he dies, and then he tries to understand, what is the purpose of his life. And also, Prabhupada clearly explains how, in a dream, someone thinks that he is flying in a chariot, right? But when he wakes up, he will, realize that, oh, he's not in the sky nor in the, anywhere in the dream, right? And also, Prabhupada makes a very nice point that in this Western world, and now in India also, people, think the child in the womb is just lump of a, flesh. They say that, there's no, even if they kill a human, there is a punishment, but there is no punishment if it is killed. But we know that with the Vedic, how the life is generated in the womb, and how the body in the womb, the baby develops. So just using the common sense, we can know that even the baby has a soul. So in the same way, Prabhupada gives that example, and how the queens are lamenting for the body of the king. So Prabhupada explains very nicely that how between the 2 points of manifestation and manifestation, why one should even cry for a body if it is manifested in interim, but anyway it is going to manifest pretty soon. That's my understanding, Prabhuji. Please correct me. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think the same question comes in Mahabharata also, when Yaksha asked this question to Maharaj Yudhishthir, what is the biggest surprise or ascharya? And the response was that everyone dies. This is so amazing. Our grandfather dies, grandmother dies, relatives die, friends die, neighbors die, other devotees we see die. But I will live forever. Why? Because I am special. That is the biggest surprise. That is the biggest illusion. Because no one wants to die in the material world. That's what this baby Yamaraj or Yamaraj as a boy is speaking. He is speaking, oh, you are much more experienced. You should have more knowledge than me. I'm just a baby. I don't know much. But you have seen many, many deaths probably. All of us have seen many, many deaths. Some for our relatives, some for our friends, some for our near and dear ones, some for our in devotee community also. But easier said than done. But still, because of very, very, very deep-rooted attachment to the body, I think that I will be exception. I will live at least 100 years or more. Kamala dala jala jivana talamala, like a drop of water on the lotus petal. It's very, very fickle, very uncertain. What will come tomorrow? And especially now, we actually feel that. Even the many famous people have died. What to speak of, they were like recently the famous NBA star Kobe Bryant dead in a plane crash, not in the coronavirus. Very, very strong, healthy, wealthy, famous. The end. Many, whether it's a actor, actress, wealthy, rich, poor, or famous, educated, uneducated, everyone goes through the same end. That is common to all. And these are the 4 properties or postulates of real misery. There is temporary challenge or temporary problems and real problems. Temporary problems relative problems. Like if my car is broken, it's a problem for me, but for the mechanic it's money, good business. If I have let's say my phone is not working, it's a problem for me, but for the phone company it's business, they want it. It's not real problem. Real problem means common to all, no one wants it, no one can escape it, and everyone has to go through that. And that is Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. Death is one of them. No one can escape it. Everyone has to go through it. So, the more we prepare ourselves for that exam, the better we will face it boldly. The more we try to escape it, no, this will not happen to me. That means we are trying to escape the exam. For example, an ostrich, when the tiger of death is about to come, she puts her head in the sand, saying, oh no, now I'm safe. See the tiger? I can't see the tiger. So often people say, why do you talk about death? Why in ISKCON they talk about death a lot? Why are you so pessimistic? It's not being pessimistic. It is the real reality of life, as certain as death. Something, coronavirus may happen to us, may not happen to us. There is, a statistic. Other problems may happen, may not happen. But death, as Mataji said, 100%. 100% probability. It will happen. So talking about that is not pessimism, but it is realistic. So one must talk about it. One must not be like an ostrich trying to artificially be away and just try to say, no, it won't happen to me and procrastinate, but it will come sooner or later. So intelligent person is one who sees, okay, my relative is dying, my friend is dying, my near one is dying. It will come to me for sure. How can I prepare myself for that? Something, for coronavirus, for lockdown, everyone is preparing. Coronavirus may come, may not come. Hopefully it doesn't come to, any of us or relatives and your near and dear ones. But still there is likelihood. But still we have to prepare. But are we preparing? Am I preparing myself for something which has to come? That is death. So life is preparation, death is examination. So rather than trying to be in a bewilderment state when it comes, rather we accept it, that soon it will come. How soon, we don't know. 1 moment later or 50 years later, or anywhere in between. But it will come for sure. So the more we embrace it, then the more we'll be ready, like Dhruv Maharaj, who used death as a stepping stone to climb on the Vaikuntha plane. But the more we try to run away from it and try to hide like an ostrich and keep continuing our false pursuits of life, then we will just fail the exam. Any other comments or questions?
So one observation or comment here is that Kashyap Muni is not present at the scene. Hiranyakashipu is doing all the talking. I thought that was very interesting. And in this regard, if anybody has any comments, maybe they can speak tomorrow if they know more. Why was that so?
Mm-hmm. You mean the father was not present in action?
I mean, this is just this pastime of Ushinara, but before that, we read that he was not present.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you. Anyone else have any other comments before we stop?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances of glory to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhuji, there are times when you're preaching and there are people who really don't believe in the existence of the soul. What are the sources or a good read or something that we as practical examples could point that out to people who really have no concept of body and soul and they don't see a soul existence?
Mm-hmm. This book, Life Comes from Life, is a good one. The Laws of Karma is good. Plus also logically ask them, sometimes someone is 2 months old or someone is 1 year old. What wrong they have done? Why did, they pass away? There is no logical, reason beyond the soul. And also we are reincarnating in this body itself, as Chaitanya Charan Prabhu explained, that all the cells of the body are changed within 7 years. No cell is same. That means the thing which I was saying, when I look at my picture 10 years back, I say it is my picture, but actually in each and every part of the body has changed. So why do I identify that with myself? There are multiple, even from logical argument, and if they are open to hear. If they are not, then we can only pray. If one is not open, then it's, as I said, we don't have to preach to faithless people. We'll just be wasting our time, and it is also an offense to preach to faithless. We can pray for them, give them prasad, and pray to Krishna to help them. So,
sure, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
If anyone else wants to add. Okay, we will stop here and continue tomorrow with the next verse and see what this little Yamaraj tells to the wives of Suyajna. Yantraj, Srimad Bhagvatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaur Bhagavad ki jai, Panchakatrobhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva Chaitanam Pavanebhyo. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you.